Alright, Genshin Impact 2. What's been popping with this game, man? Like, when was the last time I made a video talking about Genshin Impact? I don't even know. But we have a video here made by Glyph Kaio, and he is going to talk about um the new Roblox mode that they introduced in Genshin Impact. And I am gonna check it out when they drop it, right? I am gonna check it out, probably with like other creators. I can play with other creators, which is gonna be pretty fun. But when it comes to the monetization behind the new Roblox mode in Genshin Impact, I heard it was very sus. Now I did make a video talking about it. Like I already know that when it comes to pulling for skins like cosmetics in this Roblox mode, it's you're not using primo gems, you're using a different currency. And me personally, I don't see that as a problem that much, because let's say like you're playing the base game, which is Genshin Impact, and you get primo gems, and then you're like, damn bro, should I pull for the cosmetics or should I pull for the character? What should I do? It's just gonna be like, it's gonna be a disaster for a lot of people, and people are gonna have to decide what they're gonna do with those primo gems. So a different currency I think is fine. But if you can get that currency through the Roblox mode by completing missions, playing in, I don't know, other worlds, I have no idea, but as long as you can get that currency in the Roblox mode for free, I think it's fine. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see what the problem is.
The version 6.1 livestream felt like it was for two completely different games. One of
Okay.
those games is getting what looks to be a narrative masterpiece, a convergence of lore, long-awaited characters like Varka and Durin, and stakes that feel higher than ever. It is the game.
By the way, I made a video talking about Durin like I think 2 or 3 weeks ago. The Hexen Circle, what was it? I think it was the Hexen Circle faction. Bro, this game is so
Genshin Impact that
wow.
long-term players are deeply invested in. The other game is getting a massive, heavily monetized new system that feels completely disconnected from that core experience. A system that some are calling a game within a game, while basic quality of life issues that players have requested for years remain ignored. The strange part is,
And that's exactly what I said multiple times, and people were getting on me for saying this, but when they first announced this new like game mode, right, in Genshin Impact, the Roblox, whatever, I was like, all right, my first initial impressions to this, I was like, this is actually pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? This is fine. You can go ahead and create, do whatever you want. This is cool. But what about the base game? What happened to the base game? Like, you guys do know there's like a lot of issues with the base game, right? What are you guys gonna do about that? Are you gonna completely disregard the complaints we've had for these past 5 years when it comes to Genshin Impact, and you're just gonna move on over to this Roblox game mode? Like, what are we even talking about? And some people did not understand that, and I'm not surprised because this is the Genshin Impact community we are talking about. They're not really smart, but if they're going to sit here and invest their time in this Roblox game mode and completely abandon the base game, what are we doing here? And I'm not assuming that they are going to abandon the base game, but I can already see the developers putting in more time to the Roblox mode versus the actual base game. And the base game is one of the main reasons why people play the game to begin with, because it's Genshin Impact. And this new mode is within Genshin Impact.
of these are the same game in the same update, and this deep split in priorities is what makes version 6.1 so fascinating, and for many, so concerning. It perfectly captures the growing disconnect between the game Hoyoverse is building and the game many players feel like they are losing. In this video, we're going to break down this strange dichotomy, the incredible story, the controversial new systems, and what this all means for the future of Genshin Impact.
Let's
If
go
you
to skip.
appreciate this
I'm
kind
not
of
gonna skip,
breakdown,
but like
consider
speed it up.
subscribing. It is the best way to support the channel. With that being said, let's start with a part of the update that almost everyone is excited about, the story. Amidst all of the discussions and the mixed reactions,
Now, I didn't even watch the live stream because I'm gonna be real with you guys. Like, I just don't care. Like, I don't care about the 6.1 update. The only thing I actually do care about is this new Roblox mode. That's it.
there is one area where the livestream seemed to land almost perfectly, and that is the story. The trailer for the Archon quest was, by almost all accounts, the undisputed highlight of the entire program. In a patch without a new map to explore, this is the primary hook, the main event, and Hoyoverse seems to be fully aware of that, because they have loaded this quest with what can only be described as a narrative payoff that has been years in the making. We are seeing a true convergence, where multiple long-running threads of a story are finally starting to intersect. First, you have Varka, a name we have only heard in dialogue and item descriptions for 5 years now. The Grand Master of the Knights of Favonius, a character who has been a complete mystery since the game launch, is finally making his on-screen appearance. And then there's Dainsleif. Whenever Dainsleif shows up, we are moving past the regional side stories and back to the main plot. His presence as a former royal guard of Old Khaenri'ah is a guarantee that things are about to get serious, focusing on the core.
Every single time Dainsleif appears, that's when the story is actually pretty good. But when he disappears for like, what, 6 or 7 patches?
Mysteries of the Abyss. We even have Durin. For years, he was just a skeleton, the literal mountain of Dragonspine. And now, he is a conscious character with a voice and a role to play, shifting from a piece of environmental lore to an active participant. On top of that, we have a gathering of major figures. We have Albedo returning, and a group of Fatui Harbingers.
Did you just say Albedo? Bro said Albedo.
Arlecchino, Sandroni, and of course, Columbina, finally taking a more central role. Where is Tartaglia, by the way? Where is my boyfriend? But anyways, it is an incredibly staked cast. This convergence has sent lore theorists into overdrive, with speculations about the Crimson Moon dynasty of Khaenri'ah connecting characters like Rerir and Arlecchino, or theories about the Traveler needing to collect fragments of Moon Marrow. And personally, this is where I hope the story finally takes a real risk. The livestream builds up the antagonist Rerir as this world-ending threat, strong enough to
I ain't gonna lie, this nigga actually does look cool. Like, he does have a cool design. It would be sick if he was playable, though, but I don't even think he's gonna be playable.
take on entire nations. They are setting him up like Thanos, and we're supposed to be the Avengers. And I'm gonna be for real. For once, I want the good guys to lose. I want an Infinity War moment. Let the heroes fail. Let the Traveler feel actual despair, guilt, and loss.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And the reason why I say that's not gonna happen is because we've been saying the same thing for 5 years straight. We want the Traveler to lose. We want to see them, you know, we just want the heroes to lose for once. We want the good guys to lose, bro. It's not gonna happen.
Forcing them to grow from a place of desperation. For years, across many regions, the story always falls back to the power of friendship prevails trope, like in Inazuma or in Natlan. And I just think it is time for something genuinely impactful. And to make sure they had everyone's full attention, they threw in a little bit of classic misdirection. For a brief second in the trailer, we see this character, someone who looks almost exactly like Welt from Honkai Star Rail. Now, is this actually Welt crossing over into Genshin? Almost certainly not. It is most likely bait. As the community quickly called it, it is a familiar character model used to get people talking. And it worked. It dominated discussions for a while, and it added another layer of intrigue into an already dead story. This is the core of Hoyoverse's strategy for a patch like this. It is their narrative anchor. When a patch is light on the other content, the story has to do all of the heavy lifting. It must.
That is true. And it's a similar situation with Wuwa, right? You look at Wuwa 2.7. Wuwa 2.7 has to be one of the worst patches in terms of content ever. Like, it is so boring. You guys notice, like, I haven't dropped a single video talking about Wuwa, like, what, in a couple days? Like, I say 5 or 6 days. Like, the last time I talked about Wuwa was the drip marketing for 2.8. Chisa and Buling. Other than that, story part 1, I posted that, but I'm gonna be real with you guys. Story part 2, I just couldn't force myself to do part 2 yet. I am gonna do part 2, but I don't even feel like recording it. I don't know why. I just don't feel like doing it. But 2.7, it really just, it's such a bummer, man. It's such a bummer. And a lot of people just can't really look past the story. Like, yeah, you could say the story is great, but looking past the story, this is a video game at the end of the day. If there is absolutely nothing going on in this patch, just make it a story novel. Just make it a story novel at this point. If like all there is in this patch is the story, just make it a story novel. That's literally how I feel like when it comes to version 2.7 in Wuwa. It's just a complete snooze fest.
be compelling enough to be the sole reason everyone logs in and keep the game's momentum from stalling. And Hoyoverse needs that story to be powerful, because once you look beyond the impressive narrative, the polish on this update starts to show some cracks, beginning with the character models themselves. Let's start with Durin. In the promotional art and the animated shorts, he looked fantastic. He had this imposing, elegant design that got a lot of people excited. The expectation was that we were getting a top-tier polished character, and then we saw the in-game model. The feedback was
bro. Like, I don't understand why we're acting like this is a new thing when it comes to Genshin's in-game model. Like when it comes to the character's in-game model, it's always terrible. Sometimes there are exceptions, right? But you guys remember Yelan before, right? You guys remember when they first dropped Yelan? Woohoo! Yelan was a disaster. D-Luke is still a disaster. Ito, disaster. Like, come on, bro. Risley, they did pretty well with Risley. But when it comes to in-game models in this game, majority of the characters are just like, what the hell, bro? It's just, it looks completely different from the splash art. It looks completely different from, the character you see in drip marketing, right? When you take a look at drip marketing, you're like, oh snap, this character looks cool. You look at the 2D art, oh snap, cinema. When they drop them in the game, what am I looking at? It's like I'm looking at a thrift store version of the character that I summoned for. It's just insane.
immediate and negative. Players pointed out that the model felt choppy, that his iconic wings were missing, and that his clothing choices were just strange. The phrase, "the pants standing out way too much," became a common complaint. It sounds like a minor detail, but in a game built on visual appeal, these details are everything. As a result, there is a significant number of players who were ready to spend their primogems on him instantly lost interest. It is a perfect example of how, in a gacha game, aesthetics are the product. A visual downgrade is a product downgrade. Varka's model, however, was more complicated. Instead of a simple good or bad, downgrade is a product downgrade. Varka's model
He don't look too bad. I was hoping he would have like a beard. You know what I'm saying? I was hoping he would have a beard, but he don't look too bad. He don't look too bad. He looks decent. Yeah, he's definitely decent. But I was expecting a lot more for sure. Like I can understand why people are disappointed when it comes to Varka. It's completely valid.
model, however, was more complicated. Instead of a simple good or bad verdict, it sparked a clash of expectations. On one side, a large portion of the community was thrilled. They saw Varka's bulky build and more rugged, manly features as a welcome change. Things like a defined nose bridge and a jawline and large badonkers, you know what I'm saying? Features that are less common in the game's typical character
This
models.
nigga, bro.
After years of mostly slender pretty boy models, this was a move toward more diversity in character design. People said he looked fit to be the leader of Favonius, and that the design was a step in the right direction. Meanwhile, other players were concerned less with the style and more with the technical quality of the model. The criticism was that he looked unfinished, lacking the same level of detail and polish as other new characters. He was described as having NPC level detail, which sparked the fear that he might not be playable. When a character looks more like a generic quest giver,
Which feared that he might not be playable. What? I ain't gonna lie, like that's kind of a goofy take. I'm not saying what Glaive, like that's Glaive saying that, but for the people saying that he's not gonna be playable, I mean, I understand, like, if a character looks like an NPC, they're not going to be playable. Completely understand that. But, I mean, Varka, like, they literally showed him, like, the cast for Not Cray. They showed Varka. They showed Durin. They showed all these characters. He's definitely going to be playable. Like, he's definitely playable for sure. But I can understand the take that, if a character has, like, an NPC design, then it doesn't feel like a playable character. You know what? I'm gonna give that a green light. I'm gonna give that take a green light. At first, I was like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But now that I'm thinking about it, that actually makes a lot of sense.
than a premium 5-star, it is a legitimate concern. These two debates over Durin and Varka reveal something important about where Genshin is right now. The player base has incredibly high standards, where every single detail of a character model is put under a microscope. The developers are trying to evolve their design language.
The best solution is to uninstall. That's literally the best solution, uninstall. And I'm not even trying to like troll y'all. It's just a fact. Just uninstall, bro.
And introduce new body types, but their execution is now being heavily scrutinized. This intense scrutiny over visuals is a sign of a much deeper conversation about the game's core philosophy and how characters are designed to be played and ultimately sold. And that brings us to the new 5-star character, Nefer. And on a personal note, there is a running joke in my community that Nefer, with her green-themed design and haircut, looks a bit like me. So I never thought I'd see the day I'd become a playable character in Genshin Impact, but I guess you could say, never say never. Am I right? No? Never say never. Huh?
French.
Alright, jokes aside, on the surface, her design was well received. She is elegant and looks cool, but digging into her actual kit reveals a design choice that
Her kit is, bro, I read her kit. Woohoo! Oh my goodness, bro. Like, I was like, should I make a video talking about this? And I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna make a video talking about it because it's the same nonsense over and over again. You look at Skirk, you look at all of these DPS characters, like every single time they drop a DPS unit, they always drop a premium 5-star support character right before they drop that DPS unit. You look at Flint and Anefa, right? They dropped the Nefa before Flint's. They dropped Escoffier before Skirk. And then they drop what's your name? Llama before Nefer. It's the same cycle where they drop these broken supports before the character, and then they release that DPS character right after the support character um was released. Like let's say they dropped you look at Llama, they dropped Llama in version 6.0, Nefer 6.1. Escoffier, I forgot which version update it was, but it was right before Skirk update. And then what was the other character? Flint's, right? Flint's, I think Flint's 6.0, and then before Flint's and Anefa. But the cycle repeat itself, and you guys see that Durin is dropping his 6.1. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop Alice in 6.2. I wouldn't be surprised if they drop Alice in 6.2, since Durin is obviously gonna be best in slot with Alice. That's literally how Hoyo, that's just how they do things. That's how they do it. It's really predatory. It's really scummy for them to do it. The worst one they did was when they dropped Mavwika and Silily in one patch, and not one patch, but one phase. That was insanity. And the fact that people defended that, saying, "Oh well, the reason why they did that is because of the leeway of it." Yeah, that's why they did that, bro. Do you know how many times they dropped leeway of it, and they never drop two characters whose best is slot for each other during a leeway event? They never did that. Like, that was just so insane to me. That was one of the goofiest thing Hoyo ever did in the game.
That the community started to call synergy gating. Basically, it is the idea that a new character is intentionally designed to be significantly weaker unless you also own another specific limited 5-star character. In this case, Llama from the previous version. The issue here goes deeper than team building. It is the perception that a character's full potential is now locked behind a second, separate paywall. This effectively...
I've been saying this forever. Team building in Genshin Impact is cooked. I've been saying this like since the dawn of time. Team building in this game is done. Like, there is no such thing called team building anymore. It's cooked. Because now, whenever you're pulling for a DPS unit, it's always, oh, there's a character who is tied to that DPS character. And if you don't get that character who's tied to that DPS unit, well, your character's just inferior no matter what. Team building is done in this game. When the game first released, team building was fun when the game first released. But ever since Natlin dropped, it was over from there.
Doubles the cost for anyone who wants to play this new character at her best, leading to a lot of friction with players on a budget or who are free to play. It prompted a very blunt but accurate reaction from many, and of course myself. Lock it behind a limited 5-star, goddammit, Genshin never changes. And this feeling that the game's design is becoming more demanding while offering less is echoed in the rest of the patch's content. The flagship event makes a return to Sumeru, featuring familiar faces like Alhaitham, Kavi, and Tainari, but gives out a free copy of Kale. She is a character most long-term players already have, likely with all of her constellations, because she has been given away for free multiple times. For a veteran player, this reward is effectively worthless and feels redundant, as it have been far more valuable rewards. And then there's the TCG update, which for the vast majority of the player base might as well not exist. And don't talk to me like you played the TCG.
Bro, is this still in the game? Like, I'm not even trying to be like disingenuous here. Like, is this still in the game? Like, who plays TCG? Who plays this? And like, I don't want them to remove it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have to remove it, but it's the fact that they're prioritizing TCG over things like a skip button, being able to grind for materials without a schedule permanently, because a lot of people were glazing 6.0 saying, "Oh man, the devs finally listened because they removed the schedule." Yeah, it's only for a week. It's only for like what, 7 days, 8 days, I don't know, but it's limited. If you don't log into the game at that certain time, well, it's back to square one. The schedule is back. Why can't you guys take it out the game? Why? Increase resin cap. Don't want to do that. implement an artifact loadout that's actually not janky. We can't do that. We have to implement a janky artifact loadout. It's like they have the blueprint, but instead of them executing what players have been asking for a long time, they're like, "Oh yeah, guys, we came out with some TCG update. Yeah, TCG update." Who the fuck asked for this shit? Who's asking for a Rissa and a Nefa card? Who is asking for this? Who's ever putting this in the survey? Please, bro, stop sabotaging the game. Like, I'm being for real. Whoever is asking for these cards in TCG, stop. Just stop, bro. Because it's clear that the devs are either reading some responses in the survey where people are saying, guys, please update TCG every update. Please do it. It's probably the small minority that's doing it and they're listening to the minority. I have no idea, but that's what I'm speculating because who plays this, bro? Oh, man.
Brother, you know you ain't doing that. On top of that is the complete absence of the double artifact event. I was hoping that it would become a regular feature, a small bonus for players to look forward to. Its disappearance in version 6.1 is a quiet disappointment, reinforcing the feeling that popular, player-friendly features aren't being prioritized. The result is a huge disconnect in priorities. And this patch, in version 6.1, there is no announcement of any bug fixes or QOL updates. And when they look at
that's what I noticed. You guys remember, like, I literally have a playlist on my channel called Genshin Developers Discussion, right? Where I pretty much go over it and I clown them because it's always bad. When was the last developers discussion we had? When was the last one we had? Version 5.8? 5.7? I don't even know, but it's been a minute since they dropped a developers discussion. I probably scared them. I probably scared them like, yo, I don't we don't want to drop these developers discussion because the community is always roasting us. We don't want to do it anymore. Come on, bro. But yeah, for real though, like, serious question. What the hell happened to developers discussion? They used to drop that all the time. Now it's like they just went complete quiet mode. They ain't dropping no developers discussion. We don't even know what's going on in 6.1 in terms of quality of life. Maybe they put in a live stream. I don't even know, but they used to drop it on their Twitter page all the time. Oh no.
the situation, they will say they can do all this, but not a skip button, but not a loadout system. And that single sentiment sums up years of player feedback. It is the feeling that the core game is being ignored in favor of building something new. And as we will see, something with its own aggressive monetization. This growing sense of neglect for the core game serves as the backdrop of the update's main event. And
like, look at this, guys. Never can unleash a special charge attack by consuming verdant dew created by the lunar bloom reaction, where part of the damage though is counted as lunar bloom damage. What? What the hell is this kit, man? Get the hell out of here with this doggy doo-doo kit, bro.
Is the reason for so much of the skepticism surrounding the single biggest and most controversial feature of this patch, Miliastra Wonderland. This is not a new event or a mini-game. It is a massive permanent user-generated content, or UGC mode. Think of it as a game within Genshin Impact. The community often compared it to Chinese Roblox, or even the very...
I'm being dead serious, guys. I really don't know what people are complaining about when it comes to UGC, so I'm really curious to see what the problem is.
Predatory Infinity Nikki, a fashion game with its own gacha for outfits. That comparison isn't accidental because at its core, Wonderland is a self-contained platform with its own gacha system, its own battle pass, and its own economy. And to many, it looks like a pretty blatant attempt to get more money out of the players. Hey, wait, I am not aware of your game, bro. This strategy is insane. Hoyoverse is like the Stephen Curry of predatory monetization. They just keep shooting ball from nowhere, bruh. From the half court, from the full court, they...
Hey, but can you blame them though? Because it's working. You see, that's the thing, man. That's why I say, like, whenever it comes to the downfall of Genshin Impact, I blame the developers and the community. I blame the players as well. The players who are constantly spending money on this game, because if the developers are doing things that are not good, what should we do as a community? Should we, A, not give them any money? Or B, give them money? You guys should know the answer to that. If your answer is B, you're an idiot.
the bull case. These players see immense potential, believing that by letting the community create its own experiences, Wonderland will provide infinite content and dramatically extend Genshin's lifespan. It is seen as a brilliant solution to content droughts, ensuring there is always something new to do, even after the main story of Tevat wraps up. And then there is the bear case, the skeptics, who view the Wonderland with apprehension or even outright hostility. Many of these players simply tuned out during this part of the live stream.
Oh, so the Milliastra Wonderland, it unlocks in Mondstadt arc. Okay? Because I was, bro, if you had to complete, like, let's say all the way till Nodcray, bro, like you had to complete Nodcray, like the latest story, in order for you to unlock Milliastra Wonderland, that would have been a disaster.
Biggest fear is that building such a massive new system will inevitably divert resources and attention away from the core RPG experience. For them, it is more than a distraction. Some even see it as the biggest death flag Genshin has.
I think that's a fair argument. I think that's actually a valid complaint because once again, Milliastra Wonderland is literally part of the game. It's part of Genshin Impact. It's not like it's separate. It's literally part of the base game, right? So if people are saying, yeah, this is pretty much distracting us from the main game, this is going to give the developers an excuse to not work on the base game and put all their time in Milliastra Wonderland. I think those complaints are 100% valid. And that's exactly what I was saying when they teased Milliastra Wonderland. I was like, this is cool and all, but what about the base game? Like, you guys have so many things to do, so many things to fix for Genshin Impact, the base game. So if you're gonna work on Milliastra Wonderland, you guys can for sure implement a skip button, right? You can implement a skip button. You can remove the schedule. You can remove RNG when it comes to fighting bosses. You can do all these things. So how come it takes you guys like 5 years to fix something so simple? Meanwhile, when it comes to Milliastra Wonderland, something so complicated, you guys can do this. It just makes no sense.
Had so far. A sign that Hoyoverse is preparing for the end of the main game's development and building an exit strategy. When you look at the nature of the system, it is easy to see why those fears exist. The monetization is complex. There is a new separate gacha and a separate battle pass. When they showed off the craftable cosmetics,
they literally said in the live stream that they want Genshin Impact to be here. Like, they want the game to stay alive for like 20 years. Oh my gosh. Like, it's so obvious what they're doing here when it comes to Milliastra Wonderland. Once the base game is dead, because let's be real, guys, when the story is over, the game is over. No more new characters, unless they do like original characters where they just create random characters and you pull for them. I don't know. But when the story is done, I don't see how they're going to implement new characters. So now people are going to transition to Milliastra Wonderland, pull for skins, play through different, like, play different games or whatever. Like, that's what they're doing. They're pretty much trying to make their own Roblox. And I ain't gonna lie, bro, pretty smart. All right, it is big brain for him to do something like this. Like, in the business perspective, this is actually pretty smart. But at the same time, it is insulting to the people who actually spent their time on the base game when it comes to Genshin Impact. People who pulled for characters, doing all these things, wailing, just for all that to mean nothing. And they have to move on over to Roblox game mode because the base game is dry and dead as fuck.
the free to obtain stuff, they were all low rarity. The 2-star cosmetics, or just the breadcrumbs, Meanwhile, the desirable outfits are clearly locked behind new paywalls, priced similarly to the already expensive skins in the main game. This prompts the critical question many players are asking.
Let's look at the skins here. Okay, I actually like this skin right here. This skin isn't bad. We have the Halloween skin. The Halloween skin is actually pretty cool. All right, they're not bad. Of course, like the blue skins, the rare skins are trash 100%, but some of them are actually not that bad.
Why can't this be a different?
What the hell is this? Set bonus. Oh, boys, here we go. We got set bonuses. You guys know what this means. If you put on the Halloween skin, you'll be able to, I don't know. If you put on the Halloween skin, you're gonna get 500 Primo Gems. I can see something like that happening, bro. You're gonna get 10 Primo Gems per day whenever you complete a mission in Milliastra Wonderland. Or if you equip the Halloween skin, you'll receive a 10% crit rate boost, something like that.
different game? Why does it have to be inside Genshin? And the answer is quite simple and strategic. This is Hoyoverse! This is Hoyoverse's calculated Roblox gambit. They are trying to transform Genshin Impact from a product, a finite content-driven RPG, into a platform that is self-sustaining, creative ecosystem. By building it within Genshin, they immediately gain access to the massive existing player base, which is a huge advantage over launching a new IP. It is a high-stakes bet designed to future-proof the Genshin Impact brand, ensuring its relevance long after the traveler's journey concludes. That larger strategy is the key to understanding this entire update. When you put all of the pieces together, it becomes clear that version 6.1 is more than just another update. It is one of the most strategically significant moments in the game's history, a perfect snapshot of Genshin Impact at a crossroads. On one hand, you have a game that is still capable of delivering world-class, deeply anticipated narrative content that keeps its long-term players invested. On the other, a game that is pursuing a new corporate direction, a platform model that feels completely disconnected from the immediate desires of that same community. This update is a stress test. It is actively pitting the strength of its story against the community's tolerance for aggressive monetization and a perceived neglect of.
Okay, well, let's see this right over here. Chronicles of the Realms, $5. Epic of the Realms, $14.99. This is gonna be a disaster.
The core RPG experience. It is asking a fundamental question. Is a great Archon quest enough to make players overlook everything else? Ultimately, this update feels like a test of what the community values the most, forcing players to consider what kind of game they want Genshin Impact to be in the long run. So I would like to hear what you think. Let me know in the comments below, but that is all.
All right, pretty good video from Glive Kayo here. Go ahead and like this. But yeah, man, I mean, bro, like the Roblox mode, it's cool. All right, it's cool, but at the same time, once again, it comes back to that same question. What about the base game? What's gonna happen, right, when the story is over for Genshin Impact? What are you guys gonna do? What happened to all the things we've been asking for the past 5 years? You guys remember that one interview they had, where like players were asking for more in-game content, and then they were like, oh, we don't want players to have, you know, anxiety and all this nonsense. To me, at this point, when it comes to Hoyoverse and the way they're handling Genshin Impact, to me it just seems like they just refuse to do the most simple things out of spite. And that's what I'm assuming. That's what I'm speculating, right? I can't tell. I can't, you know, prove you guys that's what's going on here, but I can for sure look back these past 5 years and I can say, bro, like the things that players have been complaining about these past 5 years, it's so simple. Like it's so simple and so small. Skip button, artifact loadout, removing the schedule. These things are so simple. But why is it so hard for them to do these things when they can do things that are way more complicated, way more difficult, things that take more time to build? Like you look at this Miliastra whatever Wonderland Roblox mode, bro, it probably took them years to build this. It probably took them years to put this in the game. If you guys can do something like this, why is it so hard for you guys to put in a skip button? I just don't get it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Yeah, bro, like I can definitely understand these complaints for sure when it comes to Miliastra Wonderland. You know, they have a whole new on it, like it's the same thing when it comes to pulling for characters. You're pulling for skins. It's the same thing, but just in a different game mode, right? It's literally still in Genshin Impact, but Roblox version of Genshin Impact. But you guys already know what Hoyoverse is doing here. Once the base game dies, we're moving on over to Roblox. That's pretty much the game plan. Nothing new here.